What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of the 5 takeaways. We're going to take a look at the 1-0 win, the 1-0 record-breaking win for Harry Kane against Manchester City, and see what 5 things we can take away from the game. And yes, you've guessed it, number 1 is King Harry, king of the lane.
Yeah, and obviously, before we get into his record, his performance yesterday, just in isolation, was impressive anyway. He obviously was the match winner, completed 2 out of 4 dribbles, 2 key passes, 4 shots with 2 on target, winning 4 of his 8 ground duels. And obviously, he did get the winning goal 15 minutes into the game with a really smart finish into the far corner. But obviously, that goal did take him to 267 goals in Tottenham colours, which makes him the outright all-time top goal scorer in Spurs' history. Also, his 200th Premier League goal of all time as well, taking him into a high company with only Shearer and Rooney as double centurions when it comes to Premier League goals. So the records keep coming through for Harry Kane, 60 behind Alan Shearer's record as well. And there is no more deserving player than Harry Kane to get all of these records. And what an achievement for him to overtake Jimmy Greaves' record, which has been long-standing, and it's a really high, impressive record in itself, but to overcome it in the way he has is super, super impressive. And he is now the king of Tottenham for sure.
He is the king of Tottenham, and he now holds the record as well for most goals for one single club in the Premier League as well, which is mental to think about. And you know what makes it even more special for fans like us? We've seen him literally from where he's come from to where he is now. We've seen him every single step of the way, from breaking into the team, you know, from being laughed on, from being all the memes about him, from him stumbling around the pitch, stumbling past Chelsea players to shoot the ball in the back of the net. Nobody could have thought he would be the man that he is today and hold the records that he does hold today. It's absolutely sensational to think about, and it makes me so proud of who he is, the model professional, the golden boy, and an absolute Tottenham legend and a Premier League legend as well. So absolutely sensational, and big up to Harry Kane, and congratulations, and hopefully many more to come as well. So let's go on to number 2, and that is, who needs Porro?
And that's because Emerson Royale is in such good form at the moment. We spent the whole January tracking a right wing back and thinking we desperately need an upgrade. You know, our right wing backs continue letting us down. But now, for the last few games, Emerson Royale has really come into form, and he's capped it off with a fantastic, some would say, man of the match performance against Man City at home. It was a really impressive defensive display. He won 8 of his 12 ground duels, 6 clearances, 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, and there was 1 key pass in there as well, whilst also completing 1 dribble throughout the game. And it was really difficult for Man City to get past him. I thought defensively he made some crucial challenges inside the box as well, and it was a really confident, aggressive display from Emerson Royale, right wing back. And I'm so happy for him because he gets a lot of criticism, but it's days like yesterday when he can show what he can really bring to this team.
Yeah, and he always shows his passion for the team, so it's definitely right to be as happy for him as we are. And all of a sudden, that right wing-back spot is looking like one of our strongest positions in the squad with the way Emerson's playing at the moment. But I'm super looking forward to seeing Porro break into the team. But, you know, in these kind of games, we've never been worried about Emerson ever since he's broken into the team. He's always kind of stood strong in these kind of games. Man City away and Liverpool away spring to mind last season. And, but, you know, this is the back of 2 or 3 really good displays for Emerson now. And Porro's got some work in his hands to break into this team with the form that Emerson is showing. So, look, it's healthy competition. That's all I can say.
And did you see on Instagram what he posted? He posted a picture with a caption, "This is my team," or something like that, which shows that even though he's gotten criticism, he clearly still feels the love from his team, and he's clearly happy here, which is part of the reason why we've heard he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah, he chained himself to the goalpost at Hotspur Way in January, and we're reaping the benefits for it. Let's move on to number 3, and that is defensive turnaround.
Yeah, so Spurs have been really poor defensively this season. We went for a run of 9 games in a row. We conceded 2 or more goals. We conceded 21 goals in 10 games. But since that run of 21 goals in 10 games, Spurs have kept 3 consecutive clean sheets. Our last 3 being Fulham, Preston, and now Man City. And in the overall picture as well, in our last 7 games, there are now 5 clean sheets in there for Tottenham. So Spurs defensively definitely starting to be more robust, although there are 2 FA Cup games in there. But Spurs are definitely starting to be a bit more robust, starting to keep more clean sheets now of late. And hopefully this is a turnaround for our defence, which is much needed, because we've been way too easy to score and play against, especially since about November, December time. We've just really let our defence go, and hopefully we're getting back to the standards that we were showing last season now.
Yeah, and it's really good to see Eric Dyer putting in his best display of the season, Emerson putting his best display of the season, Romero putting his best display of the season, Davis putting his best display of the season as well. So all of them stood up for the team massively yesterday, and it looks as though they're getting back to the levels that they were at in that really good run that we had at the back end of last season, and hopefully they can just keep it up now. This should be like the base rate of what these defenders should be showing, and if they can show that from now to the end of the season, boy, we're in for an exciting second half of the season. So I'm very much looking forward to it, and I keep taking back to that meeting that Harry Kane called straight after that Man City game, and since then it seems as though the Spurs have had a really good defensive structure about them, everyone fighting for each other and everyone playing at a really high level, so it's great to see. Let's move on to number 4, and that is high turnover.
Yeah, and obviously we scored from a high turnover in the game against Man City yesterday. And what is a bit of a weird theme for Tottenham, where we're actually not relentless pressers, but when we do press, it's something that we do make the most of. And case in point, when it comes to the amount of times we have won possession from a high turnover, we are 18th in the league. So we don't actually perform the high press that often. But when it comes to how many goals a team has got from high turnovers, Spurs actually top the league with goals from high turnovers. So we don't do it frequently, but when we do, we're very effective. And it just goes to show that when we can do it, we're actually very good at it when given the opportunity. And it's something we need to work on, because if we can get that effective high press on a more frequent occasion and get the pressing structure to a point where we're doing it more relentlessly, it shows how effective it can be.
What do you think it is? Why do you think it is that Spurs are not pressing as much as maybe other teams? And when you look at those stats and you say that Spurs have scored the most goals by pressing this season, what are the triggers of those press as well?
I think it's when the team are going backwards. It's when a team like Man City, when you see them going backwards towards their goalkeeper, I think that's a trigger for the press to get into shape. And I think that's obviously, we've done it twice to Man City now. It was both times I think they were going backwards towards the goalkeeper, and then Rodri was both times actually the one to give it away. I think it's just a case of for Spurs being careful, because we know with our backline not being the pace, if we don't get the press right, then we could very easily be counted on, and it can go against us. So we've got to be very careful when we do it. So I guess it's just a case of picking our moments of when to do the press, and making sure that when we do go for pressing, we make sure we win the ball, because if we don't, we're in trouble. Yeah. Whereas if we had maybe a different set of defenders potentially, we would know it would be less of a risk to press, because even if we do get caught out, we have the defence to recover the situation. Whereas now it's a bit different. So I think we're just being very smart with it. We're picking our moments to press, but clearly when we do choose to do it, we're very effective.
Yeah. How many? Do you know the stat of how many?
I don't know how many. I just know we're top of the league for goals from high turnovers.
Very interesting. But that brings us on to the last and final takeaway, the 5th and final takeaway, and that is HAALAND pocketed. Yeah,
and it was the HAALAND was completely anonymous during the game. It was one of those where Dyer, Romero and Ben Davies completely shackled him, and he wasn't able to influence the game at all compared to how he's done. Look, this is a player who's scored 25 goals in 21 appearances this season, so clearly he needs no introduction as to how effective he is as a striker, but it's the first time during the whole season that Haaland has no touches in the opposition penalty area, and he's had no shots on goal, which is no shot on target or off target, so no shots on goal throughout the whole game. So that goes to show how well he was shackled throughout the game, and considering what a goal threat he is very impressive, and also continues Man City's run of no goals scored at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's now 5 consecutive games since Spurs moved into their new stadium and Man City have failed to score.
Yeah, it must be like a record, like the amount of shots to no goals from Man City. I read a stat, I think before this game, it was in the region of like over 80 or something shots.
And they'd accumulated over those 5 games over 9 XG, which is crazy. So you expect, out of the chances City have created over those 5 games, you expect them to get about 9 goals.
Yeah.
And they've got none. So that's pretty statistically crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And to limit Haaland to no touches in the box and no shots for the first time ever this season is great achievement for the defence, and hopefully they can use this as a springboard now for the rest of the season. But that is our 5 takeaways from the 1-0 win against Man City yesterday, the record-breaking day where Harry Kane sealed himself in the Tottenham history books as the highest goal scorer of all time in the club's history. 200 goals in the Premier League as well, which brings him to elite status in the Premier League. But that is our 5 takeaways. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the takeaways, and if we've missed anything, let us know your takeaways in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always,
come on you Spurs.